My very first date ever after my marriage was over, my first date as a single person went kind of poorly. I waited what ended up being a little over 2 hours.
Baby, you don't know what you do to me. Between me and you, I feel a chemistry. I won't let no one come and take your place. Cause the love you give, it can't be replaced. There's no one else knows what to do. That's why I'm in my love with you. I wanna please you in any way I can. I wanna share my world.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our show, Dating and Marriage Perspective. This is Karina and Amber, your girls, your co-hosts for the show, Damn Good to the Last Word. We are super excited to have a conversation, a part two, actually, conversation with our guest, B, aka Byron.
Howdy.
So before we get into it, please subscribe and like and comment to our show. I think you're going to find it really interesting. And I think it's a really important conversation, a really important topic. So last week, Amber and I did 5 things you should think about when going back to dating after being married for a couple of decades. Ta-da!
Or in a long relationship.
Or a really long relationship.
Yes.
So those were just our perspective. We haven't been, in that situation before. We haven't had that experience. So that's why we have B today, who is going to talk about his experience of going back to dating after, is it 21 years of marriage?
Yep, 21 years of marriage. It is a frightening prospect, to say the least. Coming out of the marriage, that's something I would talk about with my ex, who I'm still really good friends with. I would say, I don't think dating is for me. It doesn't seem like a good way to find somebody. I would rather just already know somebody and somehow fall in love, or I don't know how it'll work, but it's not something that from an outsider perspective you really think about or worry about. In fact, I kind of felt bad for people who had to date, using apps and stuff. I thought, luckily I have my person for so many years, because I saw a lot of flaws in the dating app world and the new digital social world that we have. So it's kind of a scary thing. It takes courage to put yourself out there, even to post pictures of yourself, which seems like an innocuous thing. Even just posting pictures or videos of yourself takes a certain amount of guts.
Yeah.
Because that's something that could be online forever. You don't know how people will react to it. Will they appreciate it? Will it look like you? And so those can be scary things. Those are all things that I started worrying about toward the end of my marriage, when I was faced with the prospect of either choosing to be alone, which a lot of people do encourage me to do, at least for a while. I've had
not date for a little while, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yep. In fact, some people say don't even think about dating for a year. But to me, and the way I live, I'm a friend collector, I guess you could say. I really like meeting people. I'm an entertainer. I'm a musician for my career, so I'm always out and about. I host trivia. I do stand-up comedy, stuff like that. So I just really like being out and meeting people. So that part of it wasn't very scary, but being able to organically find somebody or be able to find somebody real and authentic through an app seemed like a really tall order.
Yeah.
It almost seems like you're doomed not to. So yeah, I don't know how far you want to get into the question so far, but
No, I'm
those are
loving
just the
it.
things that I was starting to have to face, and that are pretty intimidating going in.
Yeah. Well, I first of all, I said this to you off air, but I really love that you and your ex are still friends and can still get
Yeah.
along. Because, like we talked about, and Karina and I have talked about this before, when you're in a long relationship, I mean, that person did something for you, right? Like there was some love there at some point, and I hate the fact of just like throwing it away. So I love that you guys are still, friends and can talk and be civilized. I think that's beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, I sometimes I feel like Jerry Seinfeld, because there's an episode where he's like, it was a mutual breakup with he and his girlfriend, and none of his friends believe him, and he says it was the world's first. Well, sometimes I think my marriage was the world's second
Yeah.
mutual breakup. Like we just agreed that we were different people after 21 years and that we wanted different things.
Yeah.
But I still love her as a person. She's still a great friend to me and supports me.
Mhm.
And I do the same with her.
Awesome.
And I think both of us have already started to see the happiness that can come from having that positive relationship instead of all the sort of baggage that came along with our particular marriage anyway.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
always say that when we talk about a topic, something else will come up. So I think the next time we would love to have you back is like, what are the building blocks of still being, in good terms? I don't like good terms, but you're still friends with your ex and
Yeah.
deciding together that, hey, maybe we should move on. So I think that might be
Yeah.
another interesting topic to.
Yeah, and I do have some
Yeah.
thoughts about that. But we'll stay with the topic at hand.
Yeah,
I'll try
yes,
not to
yes.
veer off too much, but
No.
I do have a question. So is it possible, Byron, to be a social person like you are, bars, music, drumming, all those things, and be single for a little while?
That's a good question.
well, yeah, it is. I mean, that's what's currently happening.
Yeah.
But really for me, entering the dating pool means I'm looking for somebody to share experiences with. I mean, that would be the headline. If I was to put, what am I looking for? It would be, I'm looking for somebody to share experiences with. I'm honestly not looking to get married. I've really changed my perspective on marriage.
Really?
Yeah.
That's another topic.
That
Yeah.
is. That is.
We'll save up about 5 episodes by the end of this.
Yeah, that's telling you, we got two already.
But I don't think that's what I'm looking for. So, in a lot of the apps, they basically say, are you looking for something casual, short-term, long-term,
Right.
marriage? They basically give it maybe 4 categories, and none of them were quite what I was looking for. I'm looking to share experiences, and I want somebody who I can laugh with and who gets my sense of humor and I get theirs. Maybe I'm willing to tease them and they're willing to throw it right back at me. I'm a humorous guy, and so that's one way I sort of vet people, and that's almost impossible to do. I'm a very sarcastic person, and it's really hard to be sarcastic through text.
I know it won't come out real good.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
People just get so offended. And honestly, I sometimes have wondered, from this experience that went into my TikTok video.
So I would
Which
like to talk about that.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, basically my very first date ever after my marriage was over, my first date as a single person, went kind of poorly. I waited what ended up being a little over 2 hours, and when she did show up, she was very nice. Gave me a hug. We hung out for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and she had an excuse chambered, ready to go, and she was out of there. Never heard from her again.
Oh, gosh.
And I don't think it had anything to do with what I looked like or anything like that. I think, you know, we just, for whatever reason, she didn't feel that click or whatever that she was expecting, and that's fine. She handled it in a way that I'm not really used to, because like I said before, I'm kind of a friend collector. So even if it doesn't really work out, I still expect everybody's going to be friends with me, and I'll still be able to
Yeah.
send them a funny joke or a meme or something.
Yeah.
But I just never heard from her again. And I think that exposed a major flaw in dating online, or digital dating, as I kind of think of it. That she just, for both of us, it's not really a one-sided thing. For both of us, we can't really get to know each other very personally until you actually meet. And so
Sure. You mean versus just talking online, you mean?
yeah, just texting or even doing like FaceTime or something, it's fine. But even right now with you two, I don't feel like I know exactly who you are as people just because we've seen each other on video. I
Yeah.
think it would probably be a much more engulfing experience to meet you in person, and we can see each other's micro expressions, and we can actually look each other in the eye instead of in the camera.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of hurdles to dating, and they all kind of came crashing down in this very first attempt at dating.
Can I
And
ask
so
you? Oh, can I
go
ask you a
ahead.
quick question? Because you mentioned something on one of your videos that I thought was really interesting, and you talked about thinking. I thought it sounded like you were feeling like dating is different as a Gen X.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
can you talk more about that and like what you mean?
Yes. What I meant by that is, for everybody that I knew growing up, you know, we would call and then say, "Hey, are you free? Can you play?" And then we would
Yeah.
show up, and we
Yes.
would just go out and do. Our parents rarely knew where we were.
Yeah.
You know, we would just be in the streets doing who knows what.
Yeah.
They gave us, our parents sort of by force had to give us a certain amount of trust because they were busy. You know, they were off working or just whatever baby boomers do. And so I grew up with the mentality of, if you want to hang out with somebody, you go hang out with them. You just go out.
Yeah.
You go grab a drink or whatever it might be. And I think the newer age doesn't do that. They were raised with texting as a primary form of communication, but I didn't start texting until I was married. Like texting wasn't a thing, you know. And so I think a lot of us in the Gen X generation are just don't see a lot of that value in communicating digitally only. And it seems like the dating world today is 80% digital, if not more, almost. And sometimes, you know, I've matched with somebody and I just cannot get them to meet me anywhere or go out. They just want to text. And they don't want to end thing. They don't want me to like cut it off or anything. They want to text me every day, but it's just not providing me what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that companionship to share experiences with. I'm not looking for a memorable, funny text, you know.
That's Karina all day. It was something we talk about and haven't had a few episodes.
It's so dumb. The thing is, to your point, Byron, is when this highly primary technology form of communication gets to people our age, 40, 50-year-olds, who are like, no, I would rather text. I'm like, even though they grew
Yeah.
up the way we have. Like, you have plans, you go somewhere, you show up. And when I hear from 40, 50-year-old men saying I would rather text,
Yeah, there's something going on there. That's a red flag. But in fact, it reminded me that about 10 years ago, I had this idea for an app that's basically
you
the
want to make
phone.
sure you want to share it here, because
Make sure it's
Oh, yeah.
copyrighted. Make sure it's copywritten.
Honestly, if somebody makes this app, I would love it, because to me, it sounds like the most fun thing. But it was basically a way to not communicate through texting, but it was a social network that you are connected through your phone. So basically, you could get into a chat room where you would dial in and you could talk to other people who you might be in a guitar chat room. And so you just chat with other guitar players and ask them questions, but you're actually talking or FaceTiming or something. So you could be in a group, you could do like celebrities, you call in and talk to your celebrity crush,
Right.
but instead of reading out text, you're actually talking. And I thought if there was a way to somehow connect people in some sort of a virtual environment where they can hang out and actually talk, as opposed to write or typing, because so much is lost in that. I mean, even without video, we would be having a much more engaging conversation through audio than we would if we had to type out this whole podcast, and I'm actually pretty sure something like this will come around with the advent of virtual reality and stuff. We're going to have opportunities to gather, and it'll change the dating game. Right now, it's in this really stagnant time where our technology is, it's still in the toddler phase of the internet. And so dating is one of the things that's really struggling. And people are losing their ability to interact in person.
Yeah, that's
another thing I've noticed.
Social skills are shit.
Yes, that's true. That is true. Yes.
Oh my God.
As I've listened, I've talked to, like if I have been able to meet somebody that I matched with, and I show up, I've found in the couple of times it's happened in the last few weeks that their conversation is very different than it was through text.
How so?
Yeah.
It's less measured. They're sometimes more at a loss for words. I'm trying to be very delicate with how I put it because I don't want to throw shade.
Oh, you don't have to be delicate. This is damn perspectives. It's fine.
Basically, I'll go back to my word of the day. I find their digital interactions to be very less authentic. And so I wish that when I do meet them, I'm thinking of one person in particular that I met last week, and I don't necessarily want to throw the word catfish around, but she was just very different than I was expecting, and I was sort of led to believe she was different in a lot of ways, not just her appearance, but including her appearance. Her pictures were just very filtered and stuff, and I thought I could sort of see through the filters. I thought, oh yeah, this has a filter, but still, I'm gonna know what she looks like. But I thought it was her sister answering the door. It was so different. And then
Like, why do people catfish? Because at one point you're gonna meet this person.
Yeah, seriously.
Ideally, right? And you gotta know that however you presented yourself online isn't gonna be the same person face to face. So what's your game plan?
Yeah.
For that?
Honestly, what I think it is I think there are a lot of people who feel like their personality is very good. It's their highlight, which is probably true. maybe they feel like they have a better personality than they do the appearance or whatever. So they'll put another fake appearance out there and then try to get you with their personality, basically saying, if I can get them to fall in love with me, then it won't really matter what I look like. So,
Yeah.
you know, then I can come clean and they'll know why I did it, because I was so in love with them or whatever. This is very general, but I think it has to do with confidence with their personality, saying, you know, if I can get them to like me, then it won't be as important. And this is what's necessary. And dating apps have really kind of encouraged the catfishing. I mean, it's so focused on appearance. That's one of the reasons I've now deleted all the apps. I've just done it.
How long were you on
recently.
the apps before you deleted?
Well, I only had the one match on Bumble, but to be fair, I didn't upgrade to the pro whatever.
Yeah.
And I just did the basic version. And so it doesn't show me all the people who like me. It only shows me the people that we actually match. And so I only matched with one person, and it was that person that I tried to go on the date with. On Facebook dating, I was on there for about 2 months. And I matched with people, but I found on there they didn't really want to meet up. They just wanted to text all the time and chat. So I wasn't really into that. I tried Stir.
I've never
heard of Stir. What's
Stir
that?
is one for single parents. So, you know, they all have their niche now.
Yeah, true.
That one was for single parents. And I matched with some people on there, but again, really just didn't find any sort of, to me, it just seems so fake. Like, I just feel like when I'm scrolling or swiping, however you refer to it, I always try to read something about them. So I don't want to be the guy that's just swiping.
Right.
I've heard that that's a good technique, is you're just supposed to swipe right on everybody.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
that's what a lot of guys do. They just swipe right on everybody, and then they pick from the ones who respond back.
Oh, wow.
But I don't like
Sorry.
that method, because I don't think it shows respect for the time that they might have taken to create their profile. So
Oh,
I always
that's
try
so
to
sweet. That is so sweet.
I just do it
He's
so
totally
that,
right.
that makes sense.
All the work you put in to create a profile, if you care about what you put up,
yeah.
it takes work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like maybe this is the old school person in me, but I feel very discerning. Maybe I'm overly discerning, but I like to go down. I like to see all the pictures. I like to read the bio, and I like to look for red flags. So if they're a smoker, for me,
Sure.
a smoker is a red flag. But it's not for everybody. And I think it would be pretty embarrassing for me as a person to have swiped right on somebody, and then they like me back, and I'm like, oh, this isn't who I'm looking for, and I somehow delete them or ghost them, I guess, or whatever. But so for that reason, I don't think I had very many matches. Maybe I was being too picky.
Do you think you gave it enough time? I'm only asking this just because dating, especially online, is crazy, batshit crazy. It is. But you are able to talk to a lot of people and weed them out. So for somebody who hasn't dated, very much, it's just kind of a nice opportunity to get out there, and maybe you make more friends than
I also, that reminded me that I also tried the thing on Facebook where you can just match as friends.
Okay. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they call it friendships, I think, or something super basic like that. I tried that too, just to kind of meet people to possibly go out with. But I found they're looking for the same thing that the dating people are looking for. So I didn't really see anything valuable about that. But the hard thing is I think most people are probably like me. They're scrolling while they're sitting at home watching Netflix, sort of almost envisioning a different life, but we're all kind of just looking at our phones while we're dating. And for me, it just it doesn't really work, because in my mind, as I start texting somebody or whatever, I'm just picturing them. You're probably just sitting on your couch, just like I am. And why not? Like, why don't we go two-stepping or something? Let's go dance.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some things you like about or liked about online dating?
Good question.
Well, I like when they can match you based off similar interests. A couple of my matches, we would have like 4 out of 5 that we had in common. And so I'd be like, ooh, I can cut to the chase. I can ask about Quentin Tarantino movies because I see you're a fan like I am. We can quote Seinfeld because, we're both fans or whatever. That's one of the good things, is you can find people with similar interests really easily.
Yeah.
And also people who don't run in your circles. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of places that I've never been because this is a new city for me. I'm in New Braunfels, Texas. And I've been to a lot of places and I've played music at a lot of places and stuff, but I haven't been everywhere. And I might not run into somebody. So through online dating, I can find somebody and they'll say, hey, let's go to blah 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 bar. And I'll be like, I've never heard of it. Let's go check it out. And that's pretty cool. So just in my couple of weeks being in the dating scene, I've started finding new places to be and some new circles. Some people have come to a couple of my trivia nights.
Nice.
From the singles groups and stuff like that.
Nice.
So those are probably the 2 best things about online dating, I guess.
Have you been have any of your friends tried to match you up with anybody?
Yeah. And that really hasn't worked very well either.
Are those the same friends telling you to take some time off to yourself?
You know
Kind
what?
of confusing. Like, what do you want me to do, bro? Which one?
Yeah. What's weird, I don't know how this will come across, but I felt like, because I'm a drummer, I felt like when I was married, I would have a little more opportunity.
Yeah.
People would come
Yes.
up and say things to me after shows and stuff. And now that I'm single,
Yeah.
it never happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you're married and there's blood in the water and
Yep.
then you're
Is
not.
that how it works?
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I should keep my ring on or
Maybe
something.
you
I don't know.
should. Create your own dating
That's right.
app. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's right. That's funny. That's funny.
But I will say that I've been very impressed by people sharing their experiences as well.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many people out there are struggling with the dating scene right now.
It's terrible.
They want another way to do things. Everybody seems like they've been catfished or ghosted or both.
Yeah.
And so we all know how damaging it can be and how much it can hurt, even if you don't really know somebody. If they ghost you, you just don't know what happened. You're just, you start thinking it was you, and really it's statistically not.
Not. No.
It's kind of a numbers game, which I hate describing the dating scene as a numbers game.
Yeah.
But
but
it is.
it kind of is.
It really is, especially nowadays with there being so many options, right? So you're not just competing with people on your app, right? You're competing with however many different apps there are now, right? And a lot
Yeah.
of people are on multiple apps. I mean, Karina and I have talked about it. You can see the same guy
My
on
God.
2-3 different
Yes.
apps,
People's pictures. Yes, there's that. And there are people's pictures that I've seen before years ago. I was off the
Yes.
dating app for a year, over a year, and the same profile is still there. At least 1 or 2 pictures is still there. I'm like, man, you're still on there? It's been like 2 or 3 years since
Yeah.
I've seen you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know what to do. Big, and I think it's so different for men and women just because of the psychology of the difference in what a picture does for men versus women.
Mhm.
I think that's probably why, or at least one of the reasons why it's so easy for men to just swipe right on everybody.
Mm.
But picture, I heard an interesting TikTok video actually talk about how nobody likes a picture of themselves, right? We all think pictures of ourselves are the worst and it doesn't really capture us. Well, another picture that never works is when you have, especially here in Texas, when you're outside at night and you see the big beautiful stars, or up in Oregon we had the solar eclipse and I tried to take pictures of it, but those pictures just did not work. They never work. Of the
Right.
stars. You could be in the mountains of Montana on the clearest night and you still couldn't really capture what it felt like to be under the stars in a
Mhm.
picture. Well, that same thing is true for pictures of people. It's never going to capture the full essence of what it's like to be with that person in the same room.
Yeah.
A picture is never going to do that, and so you just have to remember that pictures of yourself are never going to be the full experience of what it is to see you. And again, that's a hard thing about online dating, is it's so reliant on pictures.
Yeah.
But maybe you just happen to have a goofy face that day and it's turning off all these people when that's not really how you really are. It's just happens to be a picture that you had, so it's kind of a tough thing.
Yeah. I would say, Byron, don't lose hope. I met my husband online.
Really?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And I went through, not to say it like that, but I had talked to a lot of people before I found him. And
Uh-huh.
so, keep hope alive. Like,
Was there anything different in the process you went through with him as opposed to any of the others? Like you
oh
did
yeah.
something that was different,
Yes.
or
He picked up the phone and called, which is
okay,
was a big thing
that's
for
a
me back
huge
then.
thing.
Yeah. He picked up the phone. He didn't send me a dick pic. He didn't text. He showed up when he said he was going to show up. So that right off the bat, and even then it was funny because I wasn't really sure, because he was not somebody who I would usually date. And I've talked
Yeah.
about this before. I've told him, but my dad back then said, if you keep dating the same people, you're going to get the same results. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll give it a try. And we got married 6 months later. So, and it was quick.
So it can work,
It can
but
work.
already you said he made some efforts and he kind of took himself out of the digital part of it as
Yes.
quickly as he could, it sounds like, which is
Yes.
exactly what you have to do. I think if you
Yes.
just want to stay in it, you're never really going to find that connection.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
What advice would you give somebody who's newly divorced and, looking to get back in the dating field?
I would just say be open to new possibilities and avoid early judgment. Get into the book before you decide if it's a good one yet. And be open to, like you said, be open to being with somebody who you may not instantly it's not like the movies. You may not instantly fall in love.
Yeah.
You may need to sort of get to know somebody and think, oh yeah, they're annoying, but I kind of like that annoying thing that they do, or whatever. It's typically not going to be fireworks
Yeah.
or butterflies. Even it might be you know trying to rely on good advice from your dad.
Yeah.
So just be open to the possibility is my best advice.
I
Yeah.
like it.
I like it too.
Very insightful.
Byron, where can they find you? Where can people find you on TikTok so we can help grow your numbers and even your dating field or your friendship field?
Yeah, I would love that. Well, my TikTok is my name, Byron, but I also throw in my lucky number, which is 13. So it's actually 13 YRON. So
Awesome.
it looks like Byron.
Yes, I love it. I love it. We appreciate you coming on so much, Byron. It's been such a pleasure meeting you, and well, through Zoom.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I think you mentioned authenticity, and to me, I think you actually have a lot of that. So I don't think you're going to have a hard time finding the right
Very
person
true.
for you.
Well, I really appreciate that. It was kind of funny when I showed up to that date, actually. Your words just kind of reminded me of this, but there was these two ladies doing the wristbands at the door.
Yeah.
And I told them that this was going to be my first date after my marriage of 21 years and all this stuff. And they were just like, oh, bless your heart. And they're like, this is gonna be an experience for you, and I just want your blessings to come your way. And it was the sweetest
Yes.
thing.
Very
That's
nice.
what your words reminded me of. So thank you very much.
Yes, yes. And we hope to have you back on because, yeah, I know that I think at least 3 that I was thinking about. Same with you, Kay.
Yeah.
It'd be lovely to have you back on.
Let's talk about.
Well, yeah, I'm happy to do it anytime. Pleasure talking with you.
Yeah.
And if you have any other questions, you know where to find me. 13 Byron.
That's right. Well, thank you so much. Everybody who's listening, watching, make sure you give this a thumbs up and comment down below. I'd love to hear what your experiences are with dating, whether you're new, whether you're, been doing it, or if you have any advice, let us know. We'd love to hear. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Have a great day. Bye.